So let's stick in general. You know what the first step typically is?
Isn't it get it all on one side?
Yeah, so you always want to do that. What's the next line?
So 2 sine theta times tangent theta minus square root of 3 theta equals 0.
Okay. And do you know what this next step typically is?
You're not factoring, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Anytime you have something equal to zero, you want to try to factor.
Mhm.
So then you can use the zero product property. So what can you factor then? Is there anything that you see in both
Oh,
terms?
there's tangent.
Okay, so what can you do?
So you can factor out the tangent.
Okay, so what do you get?
And you have 2 sine theta minus the square root of 3
Okay, and
equals
then, right, now usually the next step.
but the equation is equal to 0.
Right, the factor is equal to zero, so what do you get?
And then tangent theta equals 0. 2 sine theta minus square root. And then tangent equals 0. That will tangent is y over x. So where is y over x equals 0? Which is 0 and pi.
Okay,
For the other side, these start by dividing both sides by 2.
not yet. Is there something else you have to do first?
Do we add the square root of 3
Yeah, add it, right, because what are you trying to solve for first?
for sine?
Yeah, sine theta.
Okay, so then 2 sine theta equals square root of 3. And then divide both sides by 1 sine theta equals square root of 3 over 2.
Okay,
So then we look for that on the unit circle. In that case, it would be pi over 3 and then 2 pi over 3.
okay, yeah, that should be it. Okay, all right,
So first, get it on one side. So subtract 1. 2 c squared x plus secant x minus 1 equals 0. And then you can factor by doing, I know it's like the 2 brackets. Then that means it would be 2 secant x, and then what adds to 1 and multiplies to -2.
so yeah, -2. So what what multiplies to -2 and combines to make +1?
It would be a -1.
Okay. Yeah. Do you remember what to do with these numbers?
Yeah, I thought you use them to split up the middle term.
Yeah, okay, right. So what's the whole thing then? What are the four terms you have?
2 secant x
2 secant squared x.
squared x, and then plus it's then 2 secant x minus secant x, and then minus 1.
Okay, yeah.
So then from there group them all.
Okay.
And then from the first one you can factor out 2 secant x. So then you're left with secant x plus 1. And then the other side you can factor out the -1. Then you have secant x plus 1 is 1.
Okay.
Then from there you set the things to equal 0. So you do secant x plus 1 equals 0, and then 2 secant x minus 1 equals 0.
Okay, yeah.
Then you have secant x equals -1. And your secant is 1 over cosine. So that equals still -1 for cosine.
Okay.
And then cosine, then we have to find where it's -1 on the unit circle.
What they want the answer in?
Oh, in degrees. So it's actually 1 equal.
Okay.
And then for the other side, add 1 to both sides, and then divide both sides by 2. And then you have secant x equals 1/2. And then the reciprocal of that is 2. So cosine is 2. So find where x is 2, which is never.
Yeah, good.
So the answer is just 180.
Yeah, that should be it. Okay.
Okay, so first you subtract 2
Okay.
from both sides. And then you have sine squared theta plus 2 cosine theta minus 2 equals 0.
Okay.
And then from there, well, you can't factor anything out,
Right.
but we also have a sine and a cosine.
Okay.
So what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, so you want to reduce the number of trig functions you're working with,
Mm-hmm.
which means you have to change one into the other. Do you know how to do that?
Okay.
Is there any identities you can use?
I guess you could do 1 minus sine squared equals cosine squared. I'm trying to change the sine into a cosine.
Yeah, it's sine squared, right? Sine squared is easy to change. Do you know what you can change sine squared into? You have to rewrite it a different way.
So it would be
So what's sine
plus
squared?
1
What's sine squared equal to?
cosine minus 1.
Not -1. It's
1 minus cosine
1 minus cosine. What else goes with the cosine?
squared theta.
Okay, squared. Okay, so how would you use this then?
So you replace the sine with 1 minus the squared.
Okay. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you combine the -1 and the 2?
Yeah, I can do that. Let's just simplify from here.
Okay, so it's -1.
Okay. So negative cosine squared plus 2 cosine theta minus 1, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So then what can you do from here?
So you're saying flip it to the other side. Oh, so basically just change all the signs. So like
Yeah.
0 equals cosine squared theta minus 2 cosine theta plus 1.
Yeah. Okay. What's next?
So then we factor.
Okay.
You're trying to do what adds to 2 and what multiplies to 1.
Okay.
Oh, adds to -2. So it'd be -1 and -1. So it'd be x minus 1 and x minus 1, but it's like cosine
Yeah.
cosine theta minus 1. Yeah.
Okay.
So then from there, you set them equal to 0. And theta minus 1 equals 0 plus 1 plus 1. Then you have to find where cosine equals 1. And then on the unit circle, where cosine. So it would be 0 and 180.
Well, what's cosine of pi?
Oh, it's -1.
-1. Yeah.
So it's just 0. And then
Okay.
it's theta equals 0.
So what do we need to get all
2
values of
pi n.
4? Yeah, plus 2 pi n, right? We need all the coterminal angles. Okay, yeah, that should be it.
Okay. So divide both sides by the square root of 3.
Okay,
So then it's tangent 3x equals 0. And then I don't know what to do from there. How do I get the 3 out?
so what we can do is solve for 3x. So tangent of what is equal to 0?
The tangent of 0
Okay. And
pi.
okay, so 0 pi. So let's just stick with 0 and pi for now, and then we'll see how it works later. So then what's equal to 0 and pi? What did we just solve for? In this case, because it's not just x that's plugged in, it's 3x that's plugged in. So we solved for 3x.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, and then, so then if 3x is 0 and pi, then what's x equal?
So you divide that by 3.
Yeah, that's what you get.
So it's x equals 0 and pi over 3.
Yeah. Okay, so then, but then the other thing you have to be kind of careful with, for this coefficient from the x, is that we have to go beyond the 2 pi, because so we want the solutions in the interval 0 to 2 pi, which means x has to be between 0 and 2 pi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if x is between 0 to 2 pi, what's 3x in between?
0 and like 6 pi.
Yeah, 6 pi. So 3x has to be between 0 and 6 pi, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then the idea is that we actually, when solving for 3x, we need all the solutions up to 6 pi. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we have to go, so then what's after pi?
Oh, 2 pi,
Okay, what's after that?
3 pi,
Okay, after that.
5 pi. And
Yeah, and I guess we don't have to include 6 pi because it's less than 6 pi. We don't include the last one.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so now if that's what 3x equals, what does x equal?
Oh, 2 pi over 3, 3 pi over 3, 4 pi over 3, 5 pi over 3.
Yeah, and you notice that all these answers are still within 0 to 2 pi, right, for x.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the key idea here, I guess the two parts are, understand that when you're solving, you can just kind of solve it normally, but instead of solving for x, the first thing you solve for is 3x, right? Or whatever times x. And then when you keep in mind, if you're solving for 3x, you have to figure out the new interval that for 3x to make sure you have all the answers.
Yeah.
And then once you solve for, then after you get all the answers for 3x, then you can solve for x by dividing.
Gotcha.
Okay.